expectations going into this were, we're just going to have a good time and see what happens. And, he's having a pretty good time.
You get to even focus here on Danny Donut's perspective. But I got to say something else really quick. Welcome to the Triforce Tactics podcast. Because take a look on the right side of your screen. I see a Ramkev, I see a SpicyAppies, and I see a Jirachy. Yeah. I don't think all three of these players are going to be able to make it out of here.
No, there is probably going to be an elimination amongst the Triforce podcast happening. And it looks like Danny has a Guinsu's Rage Blade right off the bat if he wants it.
Hey, it's a pretty exciting slam. It works great in a lot of different compositions. It's not as high power as it was previously when we were looking at previous patches where it was pretty much the go-to for everything. But even then, it's safe on Varus. It's safe on Xayah. It's still good, although not optimal on Scythen or Elise. So there are a whole bunch of options here that can sort of come through it. And at the very least, it is going to be a solid slam that can get you through so many comps in the late game.
Yep. And actually, we were practicing earlier last night and today, and one thing that came up was we ended up playing Swain because we hit a Swain relatively early, so Guinsu's is also solid if you hit that too.
And that's been nerfed, but you can still basically run the same items. It's still Ginsu's Static Shiv and QS, right?
Yeah. It was nerfed, but I think because it's not contested now, like if you actually hit Swain 3 somewhat consistently, like it's a solid top 4 comp. It's not like you're not going to beat out Aoshin and stuff like that.
But even then, like especially when you're climbing ranked and stuff like that, you don't need to win every time. Certainly, it feels fun. This is going to be a little bit more of a relaxed game, just starting with the Silver Augment at the very least. We're not going to see the supercharged prismatic start that we've seen earlier on in today. So I'm liking this. Danny Donuts has a pretty nice array of options here. All of them going to be structuring them towards one comp or the other, though.
Yes, but fun fact, so before we came on the drive, Danny specifically told me, I will never take the reroll augment.
Really?
And he took it last game. He got third.
Oh, what do you know?
He had a Ezreal 2, like right off the bat. So he's like, I'm just going to go Ezreal 3, rerolled, hit everything.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, that was what I was watching earlier off to the side. That was a crazy reroll. Something I want to call out here, and I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see it.
Ooh.
We do have the pickup of Tempest. It's not activated because the Kiana Associate was actually sold here. So that's going to be pretty rough. You are going to be playing down an Augment. It is silver, so it's okay, but everyone else is getting that boost, so it's something to be mindful of. But at the end of the day, though, I like the Tempest one as the best flex option of the three, just because it's so easy to activate Tempest. I know some of the higher-level players that are here might dispute Tempest viability just because it causes all the units hit by to reset their aggro, which as a result can really mess with things like assassins who jump in. They're happy that they're starting to go in all the backline units that have been completely distracted. Those backline units get hit by Tempest. All of a sudden, all of them tilt very slowly to the assassins to say,
and
what are you doing here? Sup, exactly. And that's always going to be a rough thing to see. But again, we're far away from that. And just honestly, I'm still a proponent of the nice stun that comes alongside it. It's a great way to allow your higher tempo late game builds to get to that high tempo a little bit more unimpeded.
Yeah, that's just such a good point that like is such a next level thinking of like I've seen people like just from watching these players today literally not play Kiana in like in a they weren't going assassins but like in like a transitional phase because they don't want the Tempest to trigger to like have their assassin just get hit.
Part of the reason why I like seeing Danny Donuts looking to go for that in this instance, just because that's going to allow them in order to sort of give their own take on this kind of thing. Like, TFT is great. Like, there's no one word is gospel kind of in this space. There's a whole bunch of different theories of how this game is played. It's why we get to see so many amazing comps come to light as we go through patch after patch after patch. And just generally, everyone wants to try to leave their mark, and some players figure out things in different ways, and who knows, maybe in a few weeks we'll be reading a new PowerPoint presentation explaining why something else is crazy.
So one thing I wanted to just briefly touch on is that Danny slammed the Chain Vest on Tom Kench, and I think that's a really good thing that I see a lot of lower ELO players not do, is slam their items, like their components, because it's going to eventually go on there at some point, right? So you just do it now, or if you're going to just put it on a unit that you know you're going to sell, just to give you that marginal value, even though it's 10 armor, it's like very almost irrelevant, but it's relevant enough of the time that there's fights that you could lose because you don't do that.
Oh, definitely. Like, it's important to remember that item power is another thing that's factored in after every PvE round, after every carousel, all that kind of stuff. If you are not slamming those items, if you're not utilizing them, that's power that you're just leaving on the table. Danny Donuts here, by the way, aggressively leveling up to 5 here just to try to maintain this win streak. This is another very important skill that you see, where Danny Donuts recognizing they want to protect their streak, they want to make sure they can keep a good economy going, and they've decided to take the risk of losing econ here to just try to make sure they can get long-term stronger econ with a higher streak. Because remember, when you hit the 5-win streak mark, you're going to effectively, it's going to be like you're making extra 30 gold in your bank because you're getting the extra free interest gold.
Yeah, exactly.
And look at this too. Like, we've seen them beat Ramkev. We've seen them beat Appies at this point. I think they just haven't found Jirachy just yet. They almost found the trifecta. They're out for blood.
They're out for blood, and that is just, so true that just slamming the items, tempo leveling, that's a skill that I think all players need to learn, is like recognizing when they're strong enough to go for that win streak and recognizing when they're not strong enough, because you don't want to win, lose, win, lose. You want to streak one way or the other, and you don't want to lose econ tempoing if you're not going to have a strong enough board to win. Otherwise, you're just losing gold.
And we'll go into lose streaks a little bit more later because they're such a complicated thing. I don't really have the time to do so now. It looks like spatulas are going to our 2 top 100 players, Jirachy as well as Daniels. I really want to see what Jirachy's kind of up to because, again, we know this is a very make-or-break kind of game for them. I'm curious to see how they're playing around it, especially grabbing the spatula, which this early on, it could allow for some very interesting flex options.
Ooh, okay. So we see the Mage Spat is already available if she wants it. And honestly, this kind of makes me think with the early trainer that, you have this item holder, whatever the item holder may be. It might be Rise, it might be Nami, it might be, who knows. With Appies, it was Sona earlier. And then you eventually, your end game, ideally, is Ioshin. And with the Mage Spat, that is insane. Like, that is the perfect item, Ioshin.
Like, again, I'm still feeling repercussions personally of not suggesting it in the first game where I said, put it on Sona. But certainly I agree. It is something optimal on that Ioshin. But again, like, we're talking level 8, level 9, get the augment level 10 plays. We're still only level 5. Let's ease up a little bit.
But
let's see what's
I think
going
that's what's in the mind because, I don't know, just through talking with them literally for, 5-10 minutes, it's like these are the things that they're thinking of right now. Like,
definitely.
They're thinking of all the branches. This is like Doctor Strange going in and thinking of all the different possible outcomes. What is it, like a million bajillion universes? Like, that's what's going on right now in all of these players' heads.
Hey, I like it, I like it, I like it. Also, I really love seeing Jirachy flex a little bit into the trainer as well. It's something that, based on my recent experience, I have to say has been pretty effective. I've been very rarely let down by it so long as you're picking it up this early on in the game. And just generally, it can be a very effective thing. Namzi is a free unit. It's a bunch of extra damage that comes out, and just generally is a good friend, I think. Like, nicely frog-shaped.
And the units that you use with it are obviously very valuable. Like, Lulu provides an attack speed buff, and on top of that can turn the opponents into a frog. And Heimerdinger's a mage that has CC, and sometimes Sony even gives you Evoker with Lulu. So, like, you end up playing Sony, you have the Evoker, so that's really good too.
Lots of great things that kind of come through here. I like the Gargoyles, by the way, also slammed onto the Vladimir. Does go down, but the healing does actually give a little bit more longevity there, so it all works out a little bit. I think this could be the end of the Jirachy streak, though. It's going to be hard for Rise to come through, but I've seen Rise do more with less. Lulu has something to say about it, though, so it's not going to be enough.
No, that's going to be a Jirachy streak ended there.
And two things. One, it sucks that it's happening just before the Krug round because no streak at Krugs. That's one of the worst feelings. That is the ultimate end of a win streak there. The solace that Jirachy can take is that they still have a high amount of HP. The other solace they can take is the fact that Danny Donuts also lost their streak on that round as well.
Nobody's
and
streaking.
As a result of that, no one is streaking. Jirachy is going to be at the same level as Danny Donuts economically, and we're not going to see one player starting to run away with the economic game this early on. Which, if you do see a Mr. 100 or Miss 100 starting around here and being uncontested into stage 3, that's when you start seeing some crazy stuff start to happen.
I think in one of the games, we saw Pokemon have like a million bajillion gold with the Deja.
Yeah, that was game 1 with all the...
that's what happens when you see a Mr. 100.
That was Party Favors, that was Rebel Spat. There's so much stuff going on in there.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you see a Mr. 100 that just, takes off with the game. They just hit.
It's less
have so
flashy. Also, I have to point this out. Jirachy habitually, instinctively
Like
picked up
picking up the
Lilia.
scales
Like
corn.
not even hesitating. Lilia, bye, easy enough. Like all that makes sense. It is a strong mage option. They are even going to level up here. I like all the things we're seeing. It's rough because again they lost the win streak here, but they're looking to bounce back. They know they still have a strong board. That was a bit of a close fight, and on top of that too, they're running 5 mage right now. That's going to be a big boost.
This is super interesting with the Lulu having the mage spat. It's going to be able to speed up 3 things twice, or just like turn some guys into frogs and turn some units into very fast attackers.
And I mean, mages also benefit from that attack speed too, because remember, attack speed equals mana generation, and that means that your mages are going to be casting that little bit faster. The one thing that I will say is that I expect the amount of mages on here to go down slightly as time goes. That's a huge hit to Danny.
Yeah, Danny Donut just got hit for a lot by Jirachy there.
What was that, by 12 actually?
They were at 94.
Yeah, no, by 12. Look, they're at 82 right now. That is a huge hit.
That is a huge hit. It looks like Jirachy's board is very strong right now.
Yeah,
with the
I was
mages.
just going to say that usually you don't see mages be the vertical here. Usually it's more scale scorn cavalier.
Yeah.
But still, it's quite effective.
Ooh,
That's an interesting pivot. Gadget Expert, I think, is the safer one.
I like this. The Gadget Expert makes me happy. Like, that makes a lot of sense. You already actually Gadget Expert's insane with scale scorn, by the way, because I think one of the big things is Lilia with Ionic Spark, and then just any scale scorn unit with Sunfire. We see a lot of Diana, we see a lot of Braum. It just gives bonus damage.
I'm sorry, I have to call this out too. Ramkev also buying the also buying all of these
units
as well. So that's gonna be pretty rough to see. Oh. Sorry, we're in a like I said, this is what's great about LAN centers. You get all this excitement, all this hype. The commentators, the players, we're all not just in our rooms in just some random place. We're hearing each other. We're playing off each other's energy.
To each other. They're literally all sitting next to each other like, why are you contesting me? What's wrong with you?
Hey, I mean, it's much easier to do that when you're right next to someone as opposed to, say, a continent, an ocean, whatever away, or a few states over, you know?
Or in your room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's a lot different when you type in chat, me mages, and then when you're right next to them and yell it in their face.
Exactly. Like that is what we in the business call a power move.
I agree. I was actually talking about that with Daddy on the way here. We were just like, so if we just want to hard force a comp, do you just like yell it out? Like
me mech.
Yeah, you just yell it just so that everybody knows.
Hey, I mean, I don't blame it. I think it's good. The one thing that I'll say that can be risky about Gadget Expert, and this is from my own personal experiences playing it, and I wonder if you have a different one, is that it sort of requires you to go multiple shivs, in my opinion. I think it's still good here because you're buffing up you're draining magic resistance, you're making it easier for Lilia to break through some of these tankier targets. But in terms of the true damage bonus that it's giving you, to really get it out of it, do you think you need more than one shiv?
I think that in this situation, when you're going with the mage vertical into Aoshin, which I think is the game plan here, I think that it's a very strong tempo augment. I don't necessarily think you're going to build around it. I think it's more so you get the Shiv immediately. It's dealing more damage. I think slamming items like Shiv to save HP so you can get to that point in the late game is very relevant. And it reminds me of the Luden's Echo augment.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. It's like Luden something. But it's
at Luden's.
Whenever you cast, it deals damage. And I see a lot of mage players take that to save HP. And it's a similar idea.
Well, it's why, in my opinion, like Shiv alongside Sunfire are two of the strongest early game items. But they're also some of the weakest late game items just because of how they fall off.
But as we saw last game, sometimes it doesn't matter. Like as long as you can just get to that late game, get that Aoshin, and do your thing. Sometimes just getting there is the goal.
Yeah, I'm also, like you were talking about, really curious to see if Jirachy is looking to go for Aoshin. That will be a departure for them compared to their previous games. Maybe they're looking for something big to shake something up. Maybe they recognize the tempo that they have. SpicyAppies, though, has started a win streak, so I hope we get to take a look at what they're doing soon. Other than that, though, let's see exactly where they do decide to go on the carousel at this juncture. Probably something for this Lilia. Oh. That's going to be rough.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, belt's still good.
Yeah, they got their items stolen there. But
I mean, it's how it goes. You're top 2 in the lobby. You're not going to be able to pick up too much stuff. We are actually going to switch over to Ramkev, who is going to be also running quite a few mages here. Doesn't quite have the mage spat, so is only stuck on 4. But this looks pretty similar to what Jirachy's doing, except with a bit of Astral sprinkled in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is kind of the ideal start where you have the trainer Astrals, and then you have the Nami 3 and whatnot. So I really like Ramkev's position here, and he's kind of contesting Jirachy as well. So we'll see how it plays out here.
Yeah,
I think Silas is one of the more contested units in this meta.
This is also on top of that too. Like, this is a probably more bread and butter standard meta composition that you're seeing right now. Astral, like I said in Game 1, has been incredibly prevalent. Danny Donuts here, by the way, has also switched into Shimmer Scale. Draven's Axe is the first item. Again, that's huge to start stacking early, especially huge on the Xayah as well. I do also want to call out here on Ramkev's board, beyond that for Astral, they actually picked up the Inner Cosmic Gift Augment, which is going to be rewarding them even more when they are rolling down. And so as a result, they are going to be able to roll a little bit riskier, try to go for some more stuff and not necessarily be punished as much, either for gaining bonus gold or even item components that can spawn for those orbs.
I mean, we see Ramkev has, like, no gold. He has no econ right now. So he has been rolling. I mean, that's why he has Nami 3 and all these big, strong units, which means he's going to be in a really good position in this mid game. But we'll see how he transitions into that late game. That's the part where when you do these things, like, I'm always curious to see how these pro players transition from this point.
Yeah, Astrals, this is always going to be the folly of Astrals, I would almost say, too, because, like, you're investing so much gold into re-rolling that you're hoping you're going to free-star them, and until those units are free-starred, you're not going to really get all that kind of power back effectively. So it's good to have that little safety net that it provides. At the same time, too, unless you're starting to get big hits out of it, you are going to be a little bit weaker than some of the other gold augments that are sort of hanging out. On top of that, too, it's also a flexibility limiter. You aren't going to really be able to flex out of Astrals later on in the game the same way that some of these other players can flex out of their comps. Say, for example, we were talking about how Jirachy is running Gadget Expert. They don't necessarily need to stay as a Lilia Mage composition. They can move around here, there, anywhere and be relatively fine because they don't have a composition-defining augment at their back. Granted, it's a strong thing to keep that augment in when you have composition in when you have that augment. Just a thing to remember if we start seeing this being contested, start seeing a little bit more things cause Ramkev to sweat a bit more.
Yeah, so there's also this other aspect, too, that we haven't touched on as well, is with the point system in this tournament, Ramkev doesn't actually need to play for a first place here.
True.
He just needs to play for a top 4. And I feel like Astrals is very good at that. You get a strong mid-game, and then you slowly bleed out, because I don't think that a Nami 3 is going to be able to carry you in the late game. Like, you're going to lose to the Aoceans, you're going to lose to those capped Xayah boards, and all those other things, whereas Jirachy, she has to win.
Yeah.
So you cannot play the Astral version and kind of be stuck on that if your goal is to win the game. Like, and she's in a position where she has to win. I don't think it's an option to go for what Ramkev is doing.
Yeah, and at this point, too, like, look at what Ramkev's doing to even further things down. They've leveled up to 7. They're trying to preserve this win streak. That's their source of economy right now. They slammed all of their items on here. The Silas in the front line now has both a Sunfire as well as the Shocky item, which for some reason the Onyx Spark's name always seems to elude me whenever I need to talk about it in conversation.
The
Shocky Shock, exactly. Everyone knows what the Shocky Shock is. And also, that Nami is also fully statted out as well. Like you said, it's not going to win games. However, the healing is going to allow for a lot of stall that's going to preserve you HP in the long run, as some of these fights can turn into slogs.
Yeah, and one thing that will be really interesting to see, if Ramkev actually does win this game, how does he transition out?
Oh, wait, sorry, I got to stop you there. Prismatic Augments coming in once again. All of this can change the entire fate of this match on its head. Binary Airdrop is offered, but not taken. Instead, going for the big shield.
3. This is interesting.
I don't really feel like I give enough credit to Exiles, personally.
So this is really, really just so strong right now. So Exiles is a combat augment, whereas the other ones were more like leaning towards the late game. This is just further.
Give me power now.
Give me power now. This is very consistent to the game plan that we've seen Ramkev have this game. And I feel like that's another thing that pro players do so well is, and good players in any game in general, they are very consistent. You have this strategy. You are executing it to perfection. They are not switching it up.
Oh, wait, sorry. I think best was happening right there. For Jirachy, it looks like we seem to miss most of it, but I don't quite see what went down. It looks like they were able to find a couple of siphons. Maybe not enough Lilias here. They could have decided to pivot out of there. That's rough to see. Again, this is not usually, I think, the state you want to be in after Think Fast. Sorry to cut you off.
I think this is a really, really, really bad Think Fast if we're not seeing 3 stars. We don't even see, we're not even close to a Rise 3. Like, there's 1 Rise on the bench. That is terrible.
Yeah, it's just generally a rough thing to see. I didn't quite get the chance to see Jirachy's level at that second right there, but again, like...
It's not 8.
Yeah, it's not 8. So that is going to be a really rough thing to see. They have hit the Siphon too. That will at the very least be a pretty huge power spike. I think the general rule of thumb is that each 8-cost unit is supposed to be equivalent in power to 4 costs. So that's a lot of gold on their board, a lot of power on their board. I know this isn't the Siphon from last patch, but certainly that would have been like a first place kind of almost instantaneously. However, Siphon has been creeping back up a little bit in popularity. So there is still enough room for Jirachy to stop the bleeding. It's just going to be a question of, like you were talking before, if they're able to continue things onward. Another thing to look at here, Buddha, they are currently running they currently have the loaded dice. That's going to be huge, but they don't have it in right now. They're holding on to it for the future. They're level 8, 50 gold, so it looks like they're going to go for 9 to try to go for some 3-star shenanigans with it. That will be pretty guaranteed, I have to say. Again, you got to be careful, though.
This is
and look, they're still winning, by the way, in spite of not using it, too.
They just beat Ramkev, which is huge because, obviously, like we were saying, Ramkev has been playing for Tempo. He took the Exiles. He slams his items, and he ended up losing here. That's huge. That's not good. That's not what you want to see. And this is kind of the problem with the Astral comp is that the later the game goes, the more you're going to fall off. Like, you've hit your power spike already.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really interested to see if he transitions out of this, or if he just rides with it and slowly bleeds out and just takes his top 4 and then moves on to
I mean, that's also more
finals.
Possible now as well than it maybe was in previous patches, just because, and again, I know this is still a meme. I apologize. Asoul is a little bit more playable than they were in previous patches. Asoul still, I feel like, has a long way to go, and we're about to see a bunch of huge buffs to all the legendary dragons in the next patch based on what we've seen from Warthog's Twitter. However, there is still going to be room for that Asoul to come in, still provide the Astral bonus, so you still gain inner cosmic gifts, and then from there as well, continue to try to set the momentum and take advantage of the fact that Asoul is giving you, what, a 20% bonus damage against everyone that ulti hits or something like that? A little bit more than I think what Bard does at this stage.
And then
so you can still play other compositions and still be able to keep forwarding tempo. I don't want to say that Ramkev is in an unwinnable or in a tough position here. They still are incredibly strong. It just, as you said, the later this game goes, the rougher it will be, especially when you have players like Danny Donuts stacking up things for free.
Oh, this is a Shyvana with a Cav spat.
Wait, what?
Am I
that's correct.
That's what's happening, right? Like,
no,
I'm not.
No, you're offline.
Like I have my glasses on, but like, you know.
So like, it's gonna be rough that they're not gonna be able to win that out, say. But I like that quite a bit. Cavalier on any of the shapeshifters is pretty exciting, just because. First of all, like, you know, they're getting all that bonus health. This is going to be giving them resistances through it. Shyvana even more so because, yes, she's flashy. She's a legendary. That's cool and exciting. However, she also just gets that huge amount of bonus health, and you want her to charge towards the next target with the Flame Breath as well. So it all works pretty nicely. But, by the way, still win streaking here just before the Dragon round. They are in a very strong position.
Yeah.
Curious to see exactly how they're going to turn things through. Excuse me, we also have our first elimination, though, just before the Dragon round. That is a rough position to be in, not even getting to see what your item options are.
Yeah, that was the meme that my buddies were saying earlier. Like, when we were originally talking about this thing was we just want to make it to Dragon round. We're happy if we make it past the Treasure Dragon with all, like, the caliber of players at this event. Or just, like, if we make it past the Treasure Dragon, that's good enough.
This and Never Pivot goes down actually before, too. Like, this is a stacked lobby, like, for all purposes. Like, we already talked about Ramkev, we've already talked about Jirachy, SpicyAppies, who are actually seeing their comp right now with the Deja. We haven't gotten the chance to do. By the way, if we haven't quite seen it or figured it out by right now, it's Dawnbringer as the Mirage Augmentus too. That's why Deja was able to heal up and survive that little bit longer. But again, this is a very stacked lobby. This is probably one of the scariest ones I think you can be in right now if you're coming in here as a regular player.
Let's be honest, this is the scariest lobby you can be in.
But again, like, this is also a level of play you're not going to see anywhere. You're not going to get this experience from Rank Ladder. You're going to be able to learn so much from this when you look back at it.
Oh, 100%. I think that's one of the beauties of LAN events in general is, like, you're going to play against players that you would normally never be able to have the opportunity to play against and kind of see what it's like to take on the pros.
Now, another thing to point out here, we did see a pretty early oh, wow, that's a lot of rods coming in here for Ramkev. Probably not the intention, but sure, let's go for as many def caps as possible. It's an item. It works, you know?
Mean, you're playing
look at all the tempo that's being invested right here. They've leveled up again here to level 8. They're trying to keep things going best they can. Like, this is all a good way to play, I think.
And we're still rolling. We're still
if it
trying
ain't
to
broke.
find. All right.
I think they just want a big thing from these orbs. Again, that orb just gave an extra 4 gold on top of everything as well.
Yeah.
We are starting to see a bit of a problem, though, with Namzi.
With the exiles.
Namzi too fat. Namzi doesn't allow you to get the room for the exiles to come in here at this stage. Namzi, only silver. There is a world where you drop trainer here at this juncture, but again, like, I don't know.
Lulu's a good unit. You have to have Heimerdinger in for the mage, so it's like, well, there's really not a point in dropping it right now. Like, you're still fine. You just have to be quick with it on your positioning if you want to change it at all.
Now we get to also take a good look at, I think that's the right pronunciation right there, is board. Because they're running, again, very bread and butter meta. Varus reroll has been a huge thing. Seemed to like it was going to go away a little bit after both the combination Ginsu's and Varus nerfs on this patch. Nope, still going strong.
And as we see, Ramkev, before we switched, is still just rolling.
Did hit the Ao Shen. Looks like, yes, they are going to be dropping the Deja in order to place it in. That's going to be pretty huge. Have good items for it, too. Doesn't have the Shojin, but does have the rapid-fire cannon. And everyone, please, say it with me. Attack speed equals mana generation. You didn't say it with me. What's wrong with you?
Oh.
See, you're
he's not using it.
Listen.
He's not using it.
Well, Giant Slayer is also mana generation. Attack speed is mana generation. It still works. You're right next to me. There's no latency. What's wrong?
My brain's lagging.
Well, that's also pretty scary, too. We get to see Siphon immediately dash into Ao Shen. That's going to hurt quite a bit.
Does
but here
Danny
comes the
die here,
thunderstorm.
or does he get... Oh, no!
Oh.
That's going to be Danny going down.
Ow, my shin. Hurts so much.
Yeah, Danny's going to be going down here, unfortunately, and that's pretty big.
Get cutscened, yeah.
That's pretty huge. He was on the cusp of doing it, but I don't know. I think he might be eliminated here. Unfortunately.
Yeah, as always, we'll get all the stuff sort of a little bit further down the line, but so far, so good, so strong.
That's a fat 6th place for my boy. And all the team, the Triforce podcast, they're all still in.
And really quickly, more big pivots kind of happening on here. Dropping Leona in favor of the Yasuo. Leona, super weak, don't really need it at this point. You also have a better item carrier for a lot of those Leona items, too, at this stage.
Yeah? Ooh, I like this. Yasuo is really strong, and Yasuo kind of just weaves in and out a lot, so this Frozen Heart is going to get a lot of value over the course of these fights.
This is the same way why this is the same reason why you would slam Frozen Heart on, say, Echo last patch, or Diana. Last set, or Diana right now, just to really infuriate you, where you're going to be able to spread that around so effectively and get to the back line. Unfortunately, though, Yasuo is just sort of dancing around the front line time and time again. Wasn't quite able to get it at this stage.
Yeah, so something that you have to note here is that the Ao Shen from Appies, you know, there's no Sojin on it. Like, it's ulting like once and then you're done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have very many damage items. Like,
yeah. I mean, to be fair, Giant Slayer, damage. I think, actually, no, that's all really damage effective, because even the Zhonya's Paradox does give you damage as well. Giant Slayer is giving you damage against the high health target. We saw a bunch of people running some degree of Dragon off to the side. So all this does kind of work to a degree. I agree, though. You're not seeing like those early enough casts to kind of flow in at this stage.
Yeah. I feel like he needs
to. Oh, wait. There's
I was about to say, I feel like he needs to hit.
That is the opposite of a caster curse right there. That is a caster blessing. Good job.
I know. You're welcome, Appies. You can thank me later.
All of your successes are my own.
I didn't go that far.
All how it goes. But, yeah, no, that is going to be a pretty crazy thing.
And with the level up prismatic augment, we see him go to 9, which he can actually go to level 10, fun fact, with that augment, but I don't think we're going to see that this game. He's broke.
Yeah, definitely a strong thing. You've also already hit the Aushin too, getting question mark pings respectfully, I think, as well. So you don't really need to go up too much higher, I would say.
No, you're probably chilling. It's just like, does this does it cast?
I mean, again, it's going to. It has the time. It has Zonius to even confirm that the cast fully goes off here. So all does go well, but it loses the streak, I believe.
Let's see that. 10,634 damage from one cast of Aushin.
That's doing the numbers right. Jirachy goes low, but they're still fine. 6 HP. Got scared. We're okay. We're okay.
I feel like we need to see Jirachy's board.
Yeah, we need to see Jirachy before they dip out. This could be their last fight. I want to make sure.
This could be their last fight of the tournament.
Yeah, we need to make sure we have our current Regent's perspective for just at least one more time.
That is huge. Okay, that's probably the best item you can get is a Zephyrs in this position with the Thieves' Gloves. That's absolutely huge. Will it be enough, though? Because the Thieves' Gloves on the Siphon is, like, very mediocre.
You know you're going against Ramkev or whom. You're looking around, seeing to figure it out.
Let's see if they end up positioning correctly. And, oh, that is unfortunate. The Lilia only hits a Heimerdinger instead of, you know, the good units.
Yeah. Same time, though, you were still able to get off the Shroud onto the Aurelion Soul. That will delay a little bit here, but A-Soul doesn't exactly have as high of a mana cost as before. You also have some pretty crazy Zoe action happening here. That could be enough to try to forestall things, but I see a lot of evokers. I see a huge black hole. Jirachy, it was nice to see you again, but unfortunately,
the reigning champion falls.
Yep.
But something that you said earlier, Ramkev did transition into the A-Soul. They were able to get out of the astral, you know,
funk, let's say.
The funk, and transition to A-Soul, which you said, like, you know, might be strong enough, and we saw there it was strong enough.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really think, especially the 2-star version kind of has the same power that you would have a Aushin right now, which I feel like is probably the quintessential 10-cost unit right here, because I feel like people still say Shyvana's too weak. Aurelion Soul people barely think is a 10-cost, I think, unfortunately, which is really sad because he's such a cool unit, too. But still, there's a lot of strong power at play.
Yeah, I'm just like so, I don't know, I just feel like I'm learning so much right now from watching this tournament. Like, Ramkev, I was like, how is he going to do it? Like, does he just coast on the Astrals and, you know, take his top 4 and slowly bleed out, or does he actually have a plan to transition out of this and fight for first place? And seeing that now, I'm like, man, I kind of want to try that.
Yeah, holding the Shroud too, I like that. Just try to make sure you can maximize your chances of getting a good call out there. Doesn't quite hit the Varus to slow down that initial cast, but it's still okay. You still have so many other stuns to really hit them later on.
So much
Look
CC.
At everything going on there.
So much CC.
Horn into Shiv, into so much stuff. Loses the streak.
I mean, I think that Appies is just going to win the lobby, honestly, unless Ramkev gets A-Soul too, or just is strong enough to get there. But I don't know. I haven't played A-Soul, to be quite frank. I haven't.
Also, look at all the augments. Not augments. Look at all of the synergies and traits active right now on the left side of SpicyAppies' screen. I know they have a couple that aren't totally active right now. Like, there's a few things, but that is a fully
That's beautiful.
Great. That's beautiful.
Imagine if one of those augments were Stand United.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Imagine if instead of that level up augment, it was Stand United Prismatic. That would be sweet.
Wait, is that 7 guild?
Yes, that was 7 guild.
My goodness. That is absolutely crazy to see. It's a crazy reach augment. I actually want to even take a closer look. What was the thing they went for with all of these loaded dice? I guess it was more guild champions.
It has to be just like Bard.
Wait a second. They have 5. Yeah, it looks like they have 5 bards. They have 8 talons, I think, at this stage. No, 7 talons, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 8. Look, there's one friend hanging off to the right side by bard.
There's also 4, or I guess not 4. Is it 4? Yeah, 4 rises. So they're, what, 2 away from Rise 3?
Yeah, 2 away from Rise 3. 1 away, I think, from Talon Free, unless I misread that board and there isn't a Talon on the main side of it. Lots of crazy stuff. But that's Talon 2. Talon free. Talon free. Do we see a Talon free? Talon free. Picked up there by Buddha. That's going to be a huge thing. And if I'm SpicyAppies,
look at those items.
Rise 3 as well. My goodness.
Rise 3.
If I'm SpicyAppies, I am so happy that I hit them just before they hit this, and now I don't need to deal with that anymore. Because that could be a pretty crazy thing for him and Ramkev to deal with. Ramkev also, by the way, at risk of getting eliminated here if they take a particularly nasty loss here from SpicyAppies. Let's see if there can only be one on Triforce Tactics.
You know, I really dig this transition from Ramkev, and I would like to see this play out, and I would like to see the ASOL do work and actually get there, because it is hitting the back line pretty perfectly, but
take a look at that. Yasuo too.
Nah, we're
That's
dead.
really bad, and yeah, you get cutscened at that point. I don't quite know how much HP it goes down into the negative. I think it's going to be like a -4, maybe? Oh, -11. My goodness. I forgot.
You know, a little bit off.
A little bit off. But, you know, casters aren't supposed to do math. And the fact that I took a risk and I stood up and said, I will perform mathematics live on camera, that just shows a level of bravery and stupidity on my part that I am proud of.
It's okay. We all have our moments. And it looks like is still in it at 4 life.
We sound so pensive on this desk right now with that.
I'm just like, this Talon 3, Rise 3,
Guild 7.
Guild 7.
Like, I can't undersell that enough. Like, Guild 7, I feel like something we see so seldom placed in, was added as a stretch trait in this previous patch too. So it's great that we actually get the chance to see it. It's, what, like 280% of all of those individual stats spread across all of these units?
Now that I think of it, this just clicked in my head. So we had the loaded dice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guild was a part of that. So that's how they hit all those Guild units that are now 3-starred. And I'm just like...
Well, hold on. Let's see what Bud is going to be doing here with this 3-star talent.
This is the biggest fight.
Yeah.
I think whoever wins this fight probably will win the lobby.
The fact that Bard was able to get the ulti off on Aoshin before Aoshin casted is huge. Unfortunately, though, there isn't enough. Talon versus Aoshin. Who's going to do it? Whose shins are going to hurt first? It's going to be close. Okay. Nicely done. Appies lives on a bit longer.
But that was really close.
Yeah, it looks like that was against Appy's Ghost or whatever, too. So that will be continuing things on. It shows this is going to be a close fight as goes down. But in the battle of Buddha and SpicyAppies, Buddha is no longer allowed to make any mistakes, while Appies can make a few more.
I wonder how much it is to level. We could do the math, but I'm afraid.
I mean, you saw what I just did.
Yeah. It's not our strong suit, to say the least. So what is it? Per level, you basically double it. What do we have? It's basically, so it's like 40.
They could do it if they keep losing a little bit. But again, like, they're even trying to reposition things. Looks like they dodged the Talon. Remember, a Talon, though, jumps from side to side. So next cast should actually bring Talon pretty close to Aoshin.
Yeah.
Or the center, excuse me. That's going to be pretty rough.
That Sona ult was huge. As soon as the Talon landed, it got ulted.
Oh, that's really big.
That was absolutely massive. And I think this Talon might even go down.
No, goes over to Aoshin.
No.
Gets triggered, though. It doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. The Thunderstorm comes down. There might not be enough healing from the Sona to keep Siphon alive. No, Siphon's doing it.
Siphon gets there, and it looks like Buddha is alive to see another day. Will SpicyAppies be able to pull it out? I think he will, because if he keeps losing, he will get to level up. I did the math. He can probably do it after this.
Can we please have someone else do math for us so we don't have to put our poor casters through such hard mathematical trondries?
I mean, I'm going to say I'm close enough that he can do it after this.
That's always the way to get around it. Like, yeah, ish. It's the easiest thing you can do.
And he's going to be able to put it – well, he doesn't have a unit to really put in right now, but what do you put in? If you were SpicyAppies, what do you think, like, the ideal unit is to put in here?
More CC just generally at the stage. So, honestly, I'd be thinking of something like a Hecarim.
Okay.
What about you? Like, are you also in the CC camp, or are you seeing another angle?
The only other thing see, I was right. Rise was actually what I was about to say because of the guild.
Oh, that's a good point,
and
too.
It gives you AP, and you're just barely not killing things with the Aoshin.
Well, now
you were right.
Well, what's it going to be, though?
Oh, my God.
There's a Rise right there in the shop.
I know. He's thinking about it.
Which of us is going to be right, Appy?
Which one of us is going to be right?
Oh,
Please.
actually, it might be Well, that's
Neither of
interesting.
us are right.
Putting in a second siphon, that's going to be pretty
We're
huge.
both
Yeah,
idiots.
hold on. Yeah, we're both idiots. What's going on here? Wait a minute.
Appies is just like, he's
No,
just
it's
so
two
much
dragons.
smarter.
Yeah, that's. I mean, to be fair, I didn't see the second dragon coming through here. Rolling. I think if he didn't hit the if he didn't hit the second Ao Shin, it probably would have been the heck. I will stand by that. However,
we can
definitely
ask him.
we
I want to
will.
ask him.
Okay. We'll find out who's right during the break. Regardless, though, this fight is going to keep going. Talon's going crazy. People are screaming. I want to see how it goes through. I think that's going to be the
SpicyAppies
cutscene.
takes it. Double Ao Shin coming in clutch for Appies.
You know, the thing I've learned is if you don't know how to approach a problem and you're really struggling, be it anything, be it mathematics, TFT, whatever, just throw another dragon on there.
Just
like,
throw another dragon on
throw
there.
another dragon. Get a dragon, find it. Hey, dragon, that's where you are right now.
That solves all your problems.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before, by the way.